advertised. The Unstoppable Family Beach Pad is cooler than they make it sound on Facebook. It's just absolutely a pleasure. And so hopefully what will happen here tonight with your kind of attentiveness and active participation is that will become contagious for you. The idea by the end of this hour, not only will we get into the secrets of these multiple six-figure income earners for the past 7 years. So this ain't a fluke for them. This ain't a joke. I mean, they live life way out loud, full out, all the time. But they do take their business seriously, and they're only here to get results. So make no bones about it. They live life to the fullest, but they take their business and run it as a business with profit in mind. And they do that with consistency. They're very congruent in their authenticity and their personal integrity, and they're very clear on what they want to achieve. And part of that clarity has now evolved into giving back in like transformative, profound ways to our entire industry, and that's why we've been certainly glad to partner with them through their Give Unstoppable Foundation and what they mentioned today on our wake-up call with the Shirt for a Shirt program. So at the end, we'll just invite you to kind of participate and get involved in that. It's certainly it's a fun little. Not only is it they make it fun, but it's very rewarding and it's very beneficial. And then through the second hour of this webinar tonight, we're actually going to go into the telephone part. Again, if we had the impromptu call last night, for some of you, only like a small little handful that that joined us because it was so impromptu. It was just one of those little late night things that I like to do, where we talked about some of the numbers of this business. If you feel like you're stuck, listen, you're closer than you think. Simply because if you were to only enroll one person into Network Marketing DT on a weekly basis for free, and that's all you did on just one free person per week for an entire year, and that's all your team ever did. If you just sincerely just dedicated to assisting your team into getting just that one person per week, for example, and you did that for an entire year, well, most people find it surprising that puts you in like $1 million income earnership range. I mean, it's $1 million. So unfortunately, in this industry, we get so short-sighted. We bail out and we quit. And like Rhonda said this morning, we're 3 inches from gold and we stop digging. So we're going to make those numbers meaningful, and we're going to show you how, like some of Brian's, that ain't no secret. I mean, it's probably a lot simpler than you think. But we're going to get into posture, positioning. We're going to talk about the three-way, maybe some interviewing techniques and qualifying your prospect, stuff that these guys have done for years, and frankly, they taught me when I was a kid in the network marketing industry. So with that out of the way, my good buddy Brian or my good buddy Swano, what's happening, my brother?
I'm sitting on the top deck, Jason, and right where you relaunched the exact same scene. In fact, I'm wearing your shorts, your red and plaid shorts right there, right now. Just so
How is it working out for you, man?
I just wanted to make sure that it felt like that you were right here with me.
For those of you who don't know the story about these shorts, I have to tell people. So I wake up and they call it the dungeon, but it's not a dungeon, people. It's like it's like the coolest pad you could ever wake up in, like right on the beach in San Diego. It's it's on the bottom floor of their house, but it's like this full apartment, full bathroom, full little getting dressed, laundry, everything. So the laundry part becomes significant because I actually had no idea what to expect when I go out to San Diego. I don't really even have any like dressed down stuff. It's blazing hot outside. The wind's blowing. We're on the beach, and I just grab a pair of dirty shorts off Brian's dresser or off the washing machine and put them on. Then you had to see the look on their face. Like I come upstairs and for my cup of coffee, I see Brian first, and he looks at me, dude, you're wearing my shorts. And then Rhonda comes downstairs 10 minutes later. You've got on Brian's shorts, and so now Brian's got on my shorts. How's that working out for you?
I washed them a couple times, so
in bleach.
Bleach. Extra bleach. No, man. This is fantastic. Not only get to share the morning here with you, I've been jacked up all day just to get onto the call tonight. Excited about it, and I want to share a few things because I mean this is very cool, and I really do appreciate that. Not only did you have myself, you had my wife out. We got to explain. I want to even just tap into just a little bit this morning on how things come full circle, and the fact that we're talking tonight. It just I gave you a call when I was driving in Illinois. You were working. It was probably like at almost midnight or so, 11 o'clock your time. I mean, you said you haven't shaved. I mean, this guy is getting down and dirty. He is committed. Jason is committed to having this be the best thing for everyone here. I know you said you haven't slept much over the last few weeks ever since you relaunched, and I got to commend it to you. I'm gonna raise my glass of wine because it is 5:39 here in San Diego, and the sun's going down, and that's what we do. So I want to raise my glass and say, man, you've had a vision, because we were talking about vision earlier today, and you've had a vision. Even when I did the three-way call for you way back when, you didn't even get started, which makes it even more classic. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't get started, and look how things come full around. I mean, it really is. You had that vision, and I discussed this about Rhonda, because I was that skeptical guy way back. I mean, I was a skeptical spouse, and for those that you did not hear it this morning, I mean, I know there's a ton of people on this call because I can see the numbers here, and probably a lot of the people here are brand new, and they have that skeptical spouse or something saying, "What are you doing? Are you crazy?" Well, let me just let you know. Let me have you relax a little bit, because I was that guy. I thought my wife is crazy, and if you were on the call today or if you've seen any of the videos, she is crazy. She's also known as the tornado as of this morning, which is a pretty good description of her, or like coffee makes her nervous. And so now, you had this vision. I got to commend this to you, because, man, did you ever think that you were going to be starting a company back when you had a three-way call with me way back when?
The interesting thing is, no one, I use this as a joke, but no one grows up thinking I'm going to even get started in network marketing someday.
Sure. Yeah.
So therefore, no one says I'm not going to own the company. But
Yeah.
what is remarkable, I remember when this was, back in our days when I was first getting started, I remember that the sponsor that I did join with, because they weren't as loaded as Brian Swan, right? Because I'll be honest with you, man. I was the poor boy from Kentucky. I just got out of graduate school. I was totally broke. It just did not register with me that you could get in home business and make the 350 grand that you were talking about making already. I mean, this guy, folks, was talking about the houses, the cars, the whatever, and it wasn't obnoxious. It was just a state of being. It's like you can choose to live this life or you can choose to not. It's really up to you. And so it wasn't necessarily skepticism. It was I had no idea. I was like, there's no way. Anyway, so I did get started, however, with a great lady. You probably remember Debbie Rustin and Jan McLean,
Absolutely.
Brian, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Great lady.
And Debbie was a great business coach, and Jan was just as real as it gets. She was laid back as you are. I mean, she was just hilarious, comfortable, but always in lead abundance, man. And again, that became contagious for me. When I was generating 40, 50, 60 leads a day, it was because it's not that I was an expert at lead generation. It's just because I was surrounded with other people that were getting 50 or 60 leads a day, and that was kind of my mindset of where I needed to be. And you just have, because like I say before, the lead generation, it's a mindset thing. And that's why we coach so much on the mindset, because the lead generation is just a step-by-step process. That's really all it is. But anyway, I remember Jan making the comment to me, you used to host the Wake Up to Success call. For those of you on this webinar, I'm talking to the guy. The Wake Up to Success call is not original. In fact, Vincent Ortega Jr. was asking me about this a while ago. He says, where did you get the idea? I didn't get the idea. I straight up ripped it off from the company and Brian used to host it. So
I used to do it every once in a while.
Yeah, man, it was.
And I used to host the same the webinar where people get to see it. I got to host a live sales call, and I remember when Rhonda actually had me. I go, what is this all about? And she wouldn't tell me. And she said, I want you to experience it just like I experienced it. And I got through 10 minutes of it. And I said, I hung up and said, what is this crap? And those are the exact words. And then a year later, I was actually hosting that same call. So,
Well,
yeah.
let me finish this because she made the
Yeah.
comment to me, like when you said, did you ever think that you were going to start a network marketing company? She actually made a comment to me, Jan McLean did. She says, Jason, I can totally picture you one of these days hosting this call. And at the time, I was like, you're ridiculous. I thought that's a nice compliment. Thank you, Jan. I really appreciate that. But it was beyond my wildest dreams. And that's really what the point that I was trying to make when you say, do you really
Right.
think that this can come full circle? The people that you talk to on a daily basis, you just don't know. And here it was 6 years later at No Excuses Summit, and I walk up to you, meeting you for the very first time. And I said,
Right.
dude, do you know that you were the guy that I hung up on?
And I didn't.
Yeah,
I
and now
could,
the company gives 10% of its profits to the foundation that you guys run, man.
that's right, because you always you never know who you're going to be working with in the future. So never burn bridges or never you never know the seeds that you're planting today. When are they ever? You know, sometimes seeds may take a few years. You know, maybe take 5, 6 years. You never know, and things come full circle. And one thing, and before we start on this in the posturing, I just for all you guys out there, there's a lot of things on network marketing, right? Internet marketing that, wow, this is the best life. These guys go through no challenges and stuff. But when I was making that, and we had a lot of houses and cars, that was my highest of any time that we've ever had. And we're buying real estate and doing stuff. And then, lo and behold, you don't watch yourself and you make some bad choices. I was at the very bottom of it, and we lost every single thing. But the main thing was I've heard you say this so many times, Jason, when I've been on your wake up call. You've been I'm trying to think of the right words. I may have had no money, but I've never been poor. Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
You've
I've been broke. I was broke once, but I've never been poor. Poor is a
exactly.
disease.
That is
Broke is a
exactly right.
circumstance.
And even when we lost everything financially, I mean, got everything wiped out. At the same time, I said, this is just temporary. And you know what? If we get our minds cleaned up, and that's a key thing here, people, you have to have your mindset. And I tell you, when you're losing everything, your mindset, and you're trying to teach people prosperity consciousness, it doesn't work out too well. But you have to go back to yourself. And I tell you, I had to dig down deeper and, just so much further in myself. My wife did. And if we didn't, it was, if we didn't keep on going, we would probably not be together. If we weren't really getting into the mindset of personal development, that's what kept us together. And then also, here's the thing: when everybody's going through a very crappy situation, and Jason, I know you've went through. We all entrepreneurs go through ups and downs. When you're going through a very down situation, just remember, as long as you keep on going forward every single time, there's something brighter on the horizon, after that. And I tell you, that's, one of the decisions. We're like, you know what, this is only temporary, right? We're not broke. This is something that's just temporary. And so anyway, I just want to let people know that it hasn't been all beds, a bed of roses for us. We had that great story, and then it was like, bam, got, socked in the gut like about 20 times. And then, what are we going to do? How are we going to come out of this? Anyway, I had to throw that in before we
No,
started talking.
absolutely, man. One of the things that we briefly touched on this morning was like your longevity in the business, where it's like a real, not even just consistency necessarily, but a real strong stick-to-itiveness with your primary opportunity. And
Mm-hmm.
specifically, this goes hand in hand with not only have you been had stick-to-itiveness with your primary business, but it's also this top tier, quote unquote, that we refer to it in the direct sales industry, where, in other words, it's going to take a large investment of your money to get started.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people in this industry will say, the top tier is dead, this and that, and you guys are just continuing to crush it. So the point that or the question that I'd like to ask, tell us, because I can certainly say that the mindset coaching has served me very well in the quote little ticket market,
Mm-hmm.
because it's all the same. But when it comes to the stick-to-itiveness or the consistency and the longevity of your business in that top-tier space and that mindset, number one, why do you choose to be consistent with and long term in your top tier business? Because there's certainly hard days and when people just say no all the time or whatever. Um, but what are some of the values and why do you make those decisions to be consistent, especially in that top tier industry? And then obviously what I'd like for you to do is how can we adapt that to where we are as quote little people today?
Well, Jason, that's and you have multiple questions, and I could answer it in multiple ways. And I think you're throwing it out there that way to have me. I wonder what he's going to say on this. And you know what? I'm going to be just flat out honest here, which I guess that's the only way that I know how to roll. You know what? Here's and this is just actually being very real, man. Is I myself, I just put blinders on. And I actually haven't. It's always been a top tier for us, and I don't look to see what else is going around. And when I know what's working for us, I stick to it. And man, I think that's probably one of the biggest things to help all the people just coming out new. And this doesn't matter what business you're in, what you're doing. Is it top tier? Is it multi-level marketing, direct sales, whatever it may be? There is a ton. I gave this advice actually, and I love airplane talks. I gave this advice yesterday on my flight back from my 20-year high school reunion, so now you guys know what age I am, but I just came back from a beautiful time, and this guy sitting next to me, he was saying, I just quit my job and I'm starting network marketing. I'm like, yeah, do you have a company? And he had a company picked out. I'm like, great, man. And he had no idea who I was, and some of the advice I gave him was, and there's so much out there. I mean, if you just are looking around, I mean, there's product launches here, there's this company offering this, there's this is the best thing. You will go nuts. And one of the things that I can say is being very focused. And I'm not saying you just put your head in the ground and saying, this is the only thing I'm doing. I'm not going to look at anything else. No, because you gotta keep your eyes, you gotta be aware of what's happening around you. But one of the things is you got to be very focused, just like on any marketing. Don't try to do every single thing. Just be good at one or possibly two. So I know I possibly answered a question, and I know you had something else with the top tier, but I think I at least probably hit maybe 30%
Answered
of what
one.
you asked.
No, absolutely. It's focus. That's
Focus,
that's
yeah.
been your secret is absolute focus, putting on the blinders,
Yeah,
knowing what works for you, aligning yourself with the people that you want to be surrounded with,
yep,
and the product line that you're comfortable with, product line comfortable offering to others that you can stand proudly behind and feel great about, and staying focused and true to that. So, would you suggest that that is a core value to you?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you have to have that focus, man. And I'm going to make a confession. I got to make. Do you mind if I make a confession here?
You've already confessed that you're wearing my
Okay.
shorts. That's
I
cool.
know. I'm going to make two. Maybe this just might be my confession night. I've only placed one ad in my life, Jason, and it was a free ad. I got no responses. And here's the thing: when Rhonda and I,
Now say that again, my friend. Wait a minute. Say that again. So you've placed one advertisement in your entire life.
that is absolutely correct.
Okay,
Amen.
this is really going to dovetail nicely because we're getting ready to switch to the other stuff here. So, okay, continue. So Rhonda has clearly placed all of the ads.
She has, and
Okay.
she used to do everything. I placed one free ad. I just tried it out once and didn't get a response, so I gave up. I thought, this must not work. No, I'm joking on that. It's like yeah, Rhonda, she learned everything, man. She was the one who went just full on out, and then what we did was after a while, she was still doing marketing, and I decided I want to be the person that connects with people. I can do that. That's easy. If you can communicate with people, I want to learn that. I remember. Check this out. And this guy who I'm speaking about, he's actually in our house right now, and he was 17 in the company that we were first with, way back when, Jason. And I remember jumping on a live prospecting call. This kid is 17 years old. He wasn't even supposed to be in the industry. I think he lied because you're supposed to be 18 or something, whatever it was. I was learning from this guy, and on prospecting, I go, what the heck? But I'm like, I'm going to learn, man, and I want to focus just on that, being able to have communication. And another thing that I did was I started picking up audiobooks, learning how to communicate better. How can I do that? Learning from the people that I respected in the industry, in our company. Man, I really, I focused so hard on that. I didn't even go into the marketing side. And, that was the benefit. Rhonda, at first, when she got started way back when, she did everything. When you don't have a kid and it's like she did everything, and I don't really believe how she did it. She made that happen, and then I came on board, and then this is when Hanalei's coming. Hanalei's 5 years old now, but we started dividing it up on what do we want to focus on? What do we want to master? And I can't say I'm a master of communication by any means. I'm learning every single day. I listen to audiobooks at probably about 2 hours a day, every day, to fill my head with good stuff, right? How can I take it to the next step? But yeah, the focus is huge. And we also, that same guy that I was learning from way back when. He just turned 26 now. He's helped us. He's been doing marketing with us, for the last 3 years while we've been the Unstoppable family. We've done some outsourcing and stuff. This is, we start to realize what you're good at, right? And then you hit that. You want to learn some things, new all the time, but just don't. Probably my main point here is don't get overwhelmed and this opportunity and this, and I got to do all the kinds of marketing, because you'll kill yourself. And that's why I'd have to say, why 90% of the people in this industry just fall off right away. They're not focused, and they try to take too many things, and there is so many things coming at you here. It will make your head spin. And when I bring people into our top tier business, I slow everyone down, and a lot of them probably don't like it. But I build a foundation really on the mindset, really understanding what the product is. So you have to believe in it, because if you don't believe in what you have here, how much are you supposed to sell? It doesn't matter if I'm talking to somebody here on the deck of San Diego down to someone in Australia right now. If I don't know what the product is or believe in what I have, man, people are smart. Even the unsmart people. I don't know if this is actually good verbiage, but it doesn't matter. I think you'll get the point. People will understand if you're BSing them or not, and if you believe in something. And I slow people down. So this will go back to the question, on the top tier, is we only work with maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 people new per month. I don't work with a lot, but I tell you, I have them get very focused. I slow people down. I don't even want them to look at the all these types of marketing right away. It's like I just want them to have them focused, and I walk people down a path. And so that's something that I've adopted over the last 3 to 4 years. That's really assisted us, on walking people through the system and getting them started right out of the gate.
Right on. So before we get into this more of the prospecting and closing, the interviewing process, the qualifying, I've got in parentheses on the screen the soft close and then the three-way call. Obviously, you're going to be a master at all of those, even with your laid-back style. I've got a question here from someone I want to just pass along. There's a comment too. There's a comment that says he's got a great wife, and the name is Rhonda the Tornado. I just wanted to pass that along. No, but there's a question that was asked, and it says, will you quickly explain, before we get into the prospecting and closing aspects, will you just quickly explain what top tier is for people who may not know?
Got it. For top tier, top ticket items, it's direct sales is what we've been in. We've been in it for the last 7 years, only with two companies, both personal development, and actually known one of the co-founders since day one. And it's a high ticket item. We only have three products. Typically, it's actually right around the same amount for each product. Where $1,000 commission for the first one, second is 5,000, the third for 9,000. So these are high ticket items. It's not just $50 to get in or something. This is it's a much higher level playing field.
So it's not free. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely not free. And and and
So
and to
now,
yeah, go for it.
but I would like to evolve this simply. So, in other words, when we talk about top tier, is there a level of sophistication and professionalism that generally goes along with that? And if that's the case,
I
can I?
should
I mean,
I should
obviously,
if
this
there's that level of professionalization, I probably
that's
shouldn't have been
true.
It's
still.
9 o'clock.
I don't know how. I still don't know how we're still making it happen. No.
Yeah, no, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that, clearly most of the time when we refer to top tier, we're talking about big
Yeah.
ticket items that are like, multi thousands of dollars,
Right.
where you're going to simply invest at least 2 grand or so to get your feet wet,
Sure.
and probably invest up to 20,000 to go full boat, what they call.
Hmm.
And then and that works. I can testify to people that it works. It's just
Hmm.
a direction that we're going to take. So when it
Hmm.
comes to like conversion rates and automation and things like that. Anyway, so it's not. I just want to make it clear that the content and the value that is produced and the experiences produced by Network Marketing VT are all top tier. It's just affordable.
Okay.
So fair enough. I mean, I just have to make that point of
And
clarification
and you
because
know
of
what?
the
And I might have
obvious.
been just misunderstanding on you asking about the
No,
big ticket.
I would have given the same exact definition that you would
Okay.
have in a general sense of the industry. It's just the network marketing VT way to take top tier and make it affordable. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Fair enough. That's cool.
Absolutely. And
Uh,
here's the thing for us, and this is really a realization that we've had. And so, when I've said that I've had my blinders on, and I really have. And what happens also, it's this November is 4 years that we've been traveling around the world. And I tell you, man, our life it gets crazy. Raising a little girl, we started traveling when we were 1.5, right? We were doing all the marketing when we first started, and then going to third world countries, trying to, learn the language and learning, hopefully the internet's going to work. You know, you you don't look at a whole lot of things, and you're very just focused on what you have. And I tell you, we generate a lot of high-end leads. And what I'm saying for that is, a lot of people when they're going through, they know who I right anymore know who I am through like a YouTube video. They get to go through a little marketing funnel and find out. So it's not everybody that comes through it. It's the high ticket item. I'm gonna classify it as a high ticket item from what we have. It may not be the right opportunity, but at the same time, when somebody's filling out their information, they are still looking. And this is the greatest thing when with what you guys have here. I mean, it is a top tier, and you're giving the benefit to everyone. And let's say a top, a high ticket item, or this may not be the right solution. But man, to try something, not, and I don't like using the word try much, but to actually test drive something for 14 days, like what you guys have, right? It's not like that, and only $98 per month. That is pretty amazing. And so from the people that it may not be on the big ticket item, this is a great way to combine the two. I look at this as just they work in congruency. You guys, there's you always have to have the marketing. And that is, I mean, you guys
mhm.
got some incredible marketing on that, and then also you get to make money while you're going along. It's powerful.
Well, it's definitely the grand experiment, my friend. We'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so I have to make a confession. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm worse off than Brian is when it comes to true professionalism and running webinars, because I just realized that no one could see my screen for the first 30 minutes, Brian.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway,
You know
so
what?
I've got it
And
turned on now.
and you know what's even funnier? I wasn't even looking myself. So
All right, my friend. All right, so we've talked about, okay, so for everybody on the call and that can now see my screen, this is who we're talking to, Mr. Brian Swan. You can go check him out at unstoppablefamily.com. Participate in the Shirt for a Shirt program. And just by being a member with Network Marketing VT and inside of this community, please understand that 10% of all the company's revenues go to this family right on this screen and their Unstoppable Giving Foundation, which if you've watched the Network Marketing VT sales video, you've seen the work that they're doing. And you can go to, what is it, giveunstoppable.com, right? Right?
exactly. Yeah, and
Cool.
that and once you
Giveunstoppable.com.
yeah, and if you just go to the regular Unstoppable family, you can get linked right to there from the easy shirt to shirt banner right on the right hand
Yeah,
side.
and
So
honestly, buy one of their T-shirts. I'm just going to. This is like the most obnoxious hardcore sales pitch ever. Buy one of their T-shirts because the deal is that when you purchase one of those T-shirts on UnstoppableFamily.com, you get a T-shirt, and that's pretty cool because they will send it to you. Because I purchased one and they didn't even know it or expect it or something. Anyway, so they sent me a T-shirt. And what that means is they also donate a T-shirt in your name and in your honor to a child who is in an orphanage, and they're going to be traveling. I think it's out to Vegas very soon to distribute hundreds or even thousands of these shirts. Anyway, so and then take it a step further, like I did, and really throw yourself out there and be cheesy with it. Take a picture of yourself in this shirt, and they will treat you like a king for a day. And I mean that sincerely because I actually got put up on the Unstoppable Family page on Facebook right at the top. I looked terrible because my skin is all pasty white and I hadn't shaven that day either. But seriously, go to unstoppablefamily.com, folks. Be cool. Buy a shirt. Make a difference in the world. Get a cool shirt. Take a picture and get famous on Facebook from these guys. Haha, that's pretty. That's a good trade. And
you
right,
you were our cover photo for a day.
I was the cover photo for the day. All right, so now we're into the 9 o'clock hour here on the East Coast, and so that means we're in the home stretch of this webinar. What I'd like to do is dedicate the rest of the time, Brian,
Let's
to
do it.
to the prospecting and the closing, the interviewing process that you're going to take. Now, again, folks, I want to iterate this. This is the mindset, the philosophy, the skills training from a multiple six-figure income earner for the past several years to close these big ticket sales. And I want to say that simply because this is fundamentally important. Everything that you're getting here with Network Marketing VT is top tier except for the top tier price, right? You're getting this for free, but please understand that when you apply these principles that he's getting ready to share with you, and we haven't rehearsed this at all, but when you apply these principles into your business on a free offer and then duplicate this process with your team, please understand that you have a customer value in your business of $1,200 per year. The conversion rates that you're going to experience with Network Marketing VT are dramatically higher than congruently asking someone for 20 grand. So just my point is that if you take these 20 grand closing tactics that you're going to be shocked how simple it is and apply it into a free offer or even $98, you will start to not only attract and qualify and just surround yourself in a that kind of a fundamental level, a foundational level with this business because it's still so new, right?
Mm.
So once you engage with these people on a real basis and on a conversational style, they will not only be all in, but they won't be looking around for other options. They'll
Mm.
be focused. They'll only want to work with you and with Network Marketing VT, which means that you have a stable business and you're making more profit. So is that a fair assessment to open up this kind of an introductory period of the prospecting and closing session with you, Brian?
Absolutely. And you know what? I want to do something since we didn't have it rehearsed. I want to put the tables on you here, if you don't mind. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready, man.
You're ready for it. And here's the real. This is authentic. Never rehearsed. And I'm going to ask you this because when you see for myself, I've always been just big ticket item. And I remember having this conversation just recently with you, and you were doing the big ticket, right? And then you also started doing another program, and
Mm-hmm.
because you were learning from even possibly me at that time. I don't even know other people in our business. For big ticket item, I'm just saying big ticket, high profit thing, right? And then you actually saw like, okay, I'm already having these conversations with these people, and way back when and I don't know exactly what the program was, but it was much lower cost. I'm just going to talk it price wise. What did you change, Jason, on from when you were prospecting, from doing a big ticket item versus a much smaller investment? How
Not a
did
damn
you?
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I really didn't change a damn thing. In fact, I will make this absolute admission
Mm-hmm.
that number one, with the low ticket stuff, I only talked to about half the people anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them just went ahead and got signed
Right.
up. I didn't even have to talk to
Okay.
them on the phone. Okay,
Right.
so the other half, they wanted to just know that I was a real person. They know that I breathed the same oxygen that they did, and that I wasn't one that was going to hide behind a computer screen and just take their money and then disappear. I had
Mm-hmm.
put out some content on the internet. Specifically, it's the same thing that Rhonda does today, which I think is just awesome. It was a show on Blog Talk Radio, and
Mm-hmm.
I called the name of the show is Jason's Killer Adventure. And I drove all around the country. And in a quote little ticket deal, I made $250,000 in my first 6 months, applying these same principles and strategies and these mindsets and learnings from the big ticket into the little ticket. And in fact, Brian, this is kind of a funny joke, but you'll agree with me on it. I mean, this is you even admitted that you were laughing all the way through. But the webinar that closes people at such a high rate today, I ripped it off from the big ticket company. It worked for the
Rhonda,
big ticket. I said, man,
Rhonda,
it's going to work here too. And it did.
Rhonda and I were listening to it together, and we were laughing. I said, I actually didn't even look at the webinar, and I used to host that same call. I mean, because it was a live call back then, and I knew almost half the verbiage from it. I knew it. It was ingrained in my brain, and
Right.
it
You
does
did it
work.
100 times.
Yeah,
Hmm. It works great.
absolutely.
And LLI wasn't the company that invented that script either. It's been ripped off and rehashed a million times. I mean, it's the most effective script in the industry. Anyway,
Yeah.
so there's a question that's coming down the pipe here now, Brandon. It says, "Is there a
Yes.
scripted process for the interview?"
Well, okay, this is a good question because when I first started out 7 years ago, not even 7 years ago, because Rhonda did, I started about it almost a year after. Um, I actually read a script. We had a script. I had it printed out and I read it verbatim. I'm talking verbatim for 2 weeks, and I even had one person go quote full boat. And what a full boat is with one big ticket item, it was 1,000, 5,000, 9,000. It was like around $15,000. That's what it meant. And I couldn't believe somebody actually did it. I did it verbatim. After 2 weeks, what I did was I threw away the script, and I just was starting to have a conversation with people, being real. And so yeah, is there a script? I used to use a script, and for our big ticket item, we'd have a script. But the thing is, you got to start somewhere, right? Throw away that script after a while and just be a real person. Be real, be authentic. I don't know if you want to know what I personally do when I'm interviewing people or not. Um,
Yes, I'll say it. Just go ahead and just share it. I mean, you're earning big money, man. You're living on the ocean. You're living the dream lifestyle that everyone wants. So, yes, we'd like to know exactly.
what
I'm going to put you
what
on the spot with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest things because we have multiple ways of marketing. So I don't know if they saw a YouTube video of me on the beach in Puerto Escondido or my wife on the balcony doing Law of Attraction or you know what? We put out so many just random videos just to so for people to see us. Like let's say in this place or oh we're doing this fun wine tasting thing, people find us organically that way, and then they'll go through our sales video. I want to find out precisely how they found us, because I mean it's key to find out what marketing is working for you. I mean that is so key. Of like how did you find us? What is working, and
That's
how
a
can
good
we
point.
make that
That's a
even
good
better?
question to ask.
And it
Yeah,
and
that's a
it
great
what
question. How did you
and
find
when
us? How did we
how did you
start this
find us? Because
conversation?
that's here's what I find. It's not about selling, right? It's not getting through the script and how much money are you making, what do you want to do, blah blah blah. not being a drone, you want to have people talk. You want to have people, walk themselves through. I want to find out, what is their mindset and why are they looking? What are they looking for? What is the challenge that they have? So when I ask that question of how you found us, okay, let's say it's my wife, law of attraction on this balcony, and we did this about 6 months ago or so, not even that much. But it's one of the YouTube ads to where, okay, oh, so you're in personal development, and you have them speak. I want to know, what is making them tick. I mean, it's so key. And, my conversations right now are probably anywhere between 5, sometimes up to 10. I usually don't go any longer than that. But I want to find out, hey, okay, so you found that out. Maybe even ask a question. I'm like, so personal development, law of attraction is a big thing for you, and they'll just talk. You want it, what is the thing of we have 2 ears, 1 mouth, or whatever. It's like you want to shut up and listen, but ask the right questions. And when you're asking the right questions, also everybody is looking for a certain reason. There's a challenge that they're going through, a problem, whatever you want to call it. Man, if you can dig into what that is, because everybody's there for a reason. I'm going to take this. You say you steal. I'm borrowing this from Greg Gomez, and great guy. And people are coming to you for a reason, and you got to walk them through to get to the final point, because they want to do something, and you just have to guide them through to get to that point. You're not selling them, right? You're having them make a decision for themselves. And one of the things he was talking about, and he was on a team call for us, our Unstoppable Family team call, it's probably about 6 months ago or so. Yeah, it was right after the No Excuses. He goes, I lead people through to making a decision. Yes question, or like going, okay, and you found us by this, yes, and you think that you could do this, yes, just whatever it may be, that process. But that's something I've incorporated in, but it's asking the right questions to get to that. Is that helping you out?
Yeah, can you give us an example of some of the right questions and to ask? I mean, because I think, by the way, folks, this is kind of like the qualifying your prospects thing. I mean, obviously, this is a modified script that he's talking about, a modified conversational thing.
Yeah.
He introduces himself. How did you find us? Law of attraction.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So I'm going to walk you through my whole process. I always ask that. How do you find us? Because that can bring up a whole conversation upon itself, right? And then I want to find out, what are they currently doing, right? What is it? Are they doing sales or real estate, whatever it may be? Okay. And how long have you been doing that for? Because you want to have them talk. It's about them. This entire business is not about you. It's all about them. So okay, so you've been doing that for 10 years. That's a long time. Why is it that you're looking for something new? And that's usually where they're like, oh my God, it's like after is going great for a certain amount of time. Things have changed up, the laws or whatever it may be. And then you got to start you got to start taking that dagger to have people actually feel pain, because, and this is something I've learned from, Anthony Robbins way back when, one of the first things, people operate on pain or pleasure, right? And they'll move forward. And when you're finding out people's pain, people will make a decision on moving forward with something if the pain is great enough, right? Or they're just moving towards pleasure. And so you want to dig into, I like to think of it as like just kind of drilling a little knife in people. Because, man, people will stay in pain for so long, but once you start, not just you, but when they start thinking about what are they going through, they're going to have to make a change. And one of the questions I always like to ask, okay, so if you've if you continue doing what you're currently doing for the next 2 years, where are you going to be? You almost always know the answer to that. It's I'm going to be in the same position, but you got to have them listening to that to themselves. If they currently keep on doing what they're doing, they're going to be in the same position, right? And so So let me see. Let's come back to that. I mean, that's I'm and it I every conversation there it's different. I don't have this script to where I'm walking through people through each particular step, and I have it so formulated. It's going to vary between the people that I speak to, right? And then when I find out when okay, so now I got an idea of, this is how you found this, right? This is what you're doing. This is why you're looking. This is, the reason that you need to make a change. Okay, well, here's what my next step is. And you always have to lead on to the next step, right? You're qualifying your prospects, and then the next step is, let's say it's the webinar. So I may tell a little bit about what we have, and I'm talking just on a quick 30-second overview. But one of the things, when you start selling what you're doing, and we have the greatest product, and this is going to be, man, you're over, you're toast. You have to have. That is why, like you said, Jason, you're when you're the webinar, that's what's going to be closing people. That's where the selling happens. When you're having the conversations, the selling is not happening then, and not happening at that time. It's the webinar. That's what you lead them to. So you have to, I like to think of myself as a tour guide. I'm walking people through a system, the same system that I've experienced way back when, because systems work, right? That's what works. And the selling process is the webinar. And then after the webinar, right then you can get started, and then let's reconnect, whatever it may be, whatever, because there may be different businesses on this call, like not only network marketing, there may have another, higher end, or, a big ticket or something, whatever it may be, but you have a system and you want to know what the next step is. So right then, when you get done with the webinar, go ahead and sign up right there. Then what we can do is we can reconnect, and here's what the next step is, A, B, and C. But you always have to have a definitive next step.
Okay, let me just quickly recap then on a few notes that I just took on what you just said, and then I want to get into like the three-way call.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I think the soft close, we just talked about that. We qualified them with some questions, and we'll discuss this in the rehash here. And then this soft close that you just gave was the next step. Anyway, so to reiterate, we are going to do the interview process, where I think the key point that I wrote down is it's never about you. It's always about them. And if you talk too much, you lose.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you talk too much, you lose. And then you discover, and we talk about this all the time, is the pain pleasure. And then pain is, honestly, for most of the people that are getting started in home business for the first time, it's mostly an avoidance of pain rather than seeking the greater pleasure. You would agree?
Yeah,
it was the case for me. I was trying to avoid the pain of being separated from my son, making a crappy income, working 120 hours a week in Detroit, Michigan. I wanted to avoid that pain. I wasn't looking, when I talked to you on the phone and you were saying 350 grand a year, I wasn't looking at that pleasure. I just wanted to avoid the pain. And you say, like, the key question that I really like that you asked, two of them actually, is, so what has you looking for something new? I love the word new. What has you looking for something new? Now that's going to get them to talk some more and to reveal some of the pain that's in their life. Because the idea is with this, ladies and gents, this is much more profound than the simplicity of what he's giving you here. This is getting into like the neurolinguistics programming, where if you will listen to people long enough, they'll tell you exactly what's wrong. And if you formulate the solution in their own words, they have to, by the law of congruency, get started in your business. Right, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, you're
great.
You're just replaying it right back. Keep going. I like it.
So what has you looking for something new? And then he gets you to look into the future. Now, oftentimes, I'll talk in like big, bold terms and quote like Joe Polish and say, getting your prospect to emotionally commit to a futuristic outcome which is good for them. Getting your prospect to emotionally commit to a futuristic outcome which is good for them. Brian does that in much more simplistic terms, where he says, in the next 2 years, where do you see yourself if you don't get started today?
Yeah,
or if you keep doing what you're now doing, where do you see yourself in the next 2 years? That gets them looking into that futuristic outcome on their own.
it's very easy to see that because they're already going through crap right now, and they don't see a light at the end of the table or end of the tunnel. If they keep on doing the same thing, they know exactly what the outcome is going to be, and that really has people freaking questioning themselves. So it's not. So then it's not even about your business or what you have. It's like, I do have to do something different, and you know what? It may not be this right thing, but they're gonna, you have to have people thinking for themselves, yeah, and question, what am I doing? Is this, if I continue doing this, what is the outcome going to be? So yeah.
Yeah. And then you say that you always, whenever you follow up, you have to lead somebody through the next step. And that obviously, systems and, we try to automate the process as much as possible. And you always have to have a system. But sometimes you have to manually insert yourself into that system and tell them what to do next. People like to be led, so lead them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have to know exactly what's coming up. For example, that's why we send all of our members the email notification as soon as someone registers for the webinar. They've taken the next step. That email should tell you when they're watching it, either right now or
Right.
sometime in the future, and then follow up. And then, even if it means that they have already signed up, let's say you get an email, because I'm going to apply this, if I may, Brian, to the network marketing VT people specifically here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you get an email notification that says, congratulations, you just signed John Doe up into your business, and this was the power line sale or whatever. So the next step for that person then would be to call them up on the phone and say, let's get you set up in your profile information. Let's
You
get
know,
you applying for the MasterCard. Let's make sure that you go through, like the Facebook page, get in the Facebook group. Those are the next steps for that
yeah,
person, and that gets them emotionally committed.
absolutely. And what you told me just, I think it was last week, that you said you have a dinger for every time somebody gets started. You get a ring to your iPhone, ding ding, somebody got started, and you call them right away. And I have to agree, man, that there is nothing more than powerful than somebody who just got started and you get a phone call by that person, walking them, excuse me, walking, I'm okay now, walking them into the team and then saying, here's what the next steps are. I mean, that is powerful as heck, man. So I'm taking that from you if you don't mind. I'm borrowing it though, okay?
Absolutely, man. And I can even get my guy to code you out the API tracker in Google Docs that I use. I mean, it's Google Docs, and I don't carry an iPhone. I'm a contrarian that carries an Android because I'm smart. Anyway, I love you, dude. I'm only kidding. All right, so in the rest of the time we have left, which is only about 5 minutes, Brian, let's talk about the three-way call
Yeah,
and the power of that. A lot of people will say, I don't know what to say. I don't have these questions mastered at the end of this 1 hour. I'm not afraid to try to do better in my business, but I still have people. I still have a prospect that's sitting on the fence. They just have a few more questions. One of the things that I've always coached this community on, Brian, is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're ready to get started right now. This is the greatest thing since bottled beer. Then I just suggest that you just shut up and walk them through it. If they're a 5 or below, you just move on to the next one. If
yeah,
they're 7, 8, or 9, they usually have one or two questions that they need to be answered, and we introduce that particular prospect to someone else, which is social validation, someone else that is getting results in this business with the three-way call. Tell us about how to
hmm
just set that up. There's not really an interview process in the three-way, but how to set that up. And
yeah.
then if you are the three-way E, like the one hosting or invited
All
to
right.
do this three-way, kind of run us through what to say or how to position that to get better results.
And you know what? Here's I'm gonna even gonna stop it or not stop it, but I'm gonna go back to just the scale of 1 to 10 because I've found that this is one of the most important questions of all time. When you ask that question, this is what make it the most powerful. Is on a scale of 1 to 10. One, not for you at all. 10, definitely the right fit. You got a few questions. Where would you place yourself? I came up with it. I'm looking at 8. The question is, remember this one. If you do that, because I love that question on a scale of 1 to 10. It's because it really puts somebody. But here's the next one. That's the money. Is how did you come up with that number? And whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. If they're 4 below, it really doesn't matter. But anything of a 5 above, you got to ask that question, and they'll tell you exactly what they saw, what they like, what they don't like, what they want to see, and that's how you actually when you go to set it up with a three-way. Like, so I'm just going to role play with you, and I ask you, and so Jason, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 not the right opportunity, 10 being this is definitely the right fit. You may have a few questions. Where would you place yourself? I'm role playing with you. Are you with me, Jason? I cannot hear you at all.
Oh, can you hear me now? I had my mic muted. Sorry. You can
No,
hear me
so
now.
yeah, I can hear you now. No, so
Okay,
so
my answer was 8. I had my microphone muted. I'm sorry because I
not
didn't want to like create an echo.
not a
So
problem.
10 being this greatest thing,
Yeah,
I might just have 1 or 2 questions, and 1 this is not a good fit for at
great.
all. I'm an 8.
So you're rated an 8. Okay, 8. All right. So an 8, obviously that's a high number. How'd you come up with an 8? And so
Well,
whatever it may be, you don't have to answer, but that is the key thing, and that's what you want to replay when you're doing the three-way, to make it very, to make it powerful. So for instance, I'm like, okay, an 8, great. Here's what I want you to do, and this is just how I've done it in the past with what our big ticket item, where you go, okay, what I want you to do, I want you to give me. I go, are you going to be available in the next couple hours? Okay, beautiful. What I want you to do, I want you to go back through this video, and I want you to write down your top 3 questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get those answered for you and show you the last step in our system. So I'm showing them. I'm not telling them, hey, I'm going to go get a closer on the line. I'm saying that I'm going to get your questions answered. I'm going to show you the last step. And what I do is then on the three-way call. Okay, so let's say I get in my advisor or somebody else in the business, and say, okay, hey, can I utilize you for a three-way call? Great. And so we'll call them back. We have a three-way call. And what I'll do is say, hey, Bob, okay, I'm back with you. Like I said, I wanted to get your questions answered, show you the last step of the system. What I did was I actually brought on Jim. Jim's, a member of our business or member of our community. He doesn't even have a financial tie whatsoever into this call. What we're doing is really showing you the level of support and showing you the last step in the system. And what we're really showing you is that when you get started here, you may not have to know all the answers to the questions. This is why we have a community here. A Jim, and I forgot which names which, but I'll say, hey Jim, and he's the member of our community. Jim, I spoke to Bob today. This is, he's in retail sales. He's been doing it for 12 years. This is his challenge, whatever it may be. He rated himself an 8. The reason he rated himself an 8, he liked the products. He likes the products, and he's not a 10 because he has a few more questions, whatever it may be. But just replay that back, because it really shows you that you listen to him, and so then you're all on the same page. The person gets their questions answered, and then you either move forward or not. And just like, I obviously must not have done a great three-way, Jason, because you didn't get started with me way back when.
no,
All right.
I was just a pain avoider, man. No, but that's absolutely excellent. Where he says, where Brian said, basically turn over to the call. Like, let's say Bob is the person who is a member of the company already, no matter what company you're in. But let's say Network Marketing BT, because our logo is obviously on the
Yes.
slide. So Bob is a member of Network Marketing BT, and we're going to call Bob and say, Bob, I've got John on the line. He's got 3 questions. Here's his questions, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to click back over and join all 3 people. So Bob,
Yes.
this is John, and John's been in retail sales for 12 years. This is some of the things that he likes of this business are dot, dot, dot. His questions are bam, bam, bam. And so Bob, this is John. John, this is Bob. And then you shut up. You
Yeah.
do not speak again until spoken to.
Right. And you don't speak until I have, the person that's doing the three-way, they're going to say, so if you're ready to go, this is what the next steps are, and this is what we're going to do. Essentially, yeah, you shut up and let the other person do the work.
Yeah, exactly. Let the other person do the work, where the pressure, quote unquote, of closing the deal is not on you.
Right.
You've already stated to John, the prospect, that Bob has no financial interest in this conversation whatsoever. He's just your buddy, and he's been here a week longer, so he knows more of the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And you just stressed that to John, the prospect, And then, so once you say, Bob, this is John, John, this is Bob, you just shut up. I mean, you might as well, I mean, you could otherwise just go ahead and hang up the phone unless we just didn't have courteous close at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
okay, blah, blah, blah. Because at that point, at that particular point, it comes Bob, the three-way person doing the call. So again, if this is you folks, if you ever do a three-way call, it's your job to seize the sale. That's like hardcore sales vernacular, but seizing the sale means you have to know the next step and you have to
Absolutely.
walk John to it.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, and yeah,
And
absolutely.
again, it's a free offer, so it's not rocket
It's
science. It really,
right.
but again, if you take this posture and this coaching from a guy right now on this webinar that closes $15,000, $20,000 deals regularly, makes multiple six-figure income for the past 7 years, I can testify to you people because this is really the way that it goes. This is the way that I was taught and trained, and that's the way that it works. It hasn't changed ever. It's this top secret 137-year-old technology called a telephone.
And
Um, but
and Jason, when you're talking about your sale, it is like a no pressure, right? I mean, it's
it's no
14
pressure.
days free. It's a different ballgame, and I'm just going through my mindset of a big ticket item, and to where I would be like at the end going, "Are you ready to get started?" Yes. Okay. Are you gonna, and this is for like a $1,700 product. I'd be going, are you gonna do that with a credit card or a wire transfer? I mean, this is not even in the same ballpark. Hey, go,
Well, but at
go.
the same time, if you take this mindset of the big ticket to the little ticket, you'll make a ton of money.
Yeah. And that's why I had to ask you before I started going on these things on the prospecting closing. I had to ask you because you went through it from having the big ticket and then going for a low cost ticket. I'm like I wanted to know how did you do things differently. So this is good. This is good stuff, man. And it's like I'm learning right here, right along with you, man.
Fair enough. Okay, I got one final question, Mr. Swan, and then we'll wrap up the evening. And this is just a question submitted by Gary. He says, I have a prospect on the phone, and he asked me how well I'm doing, and I just got started. How do I answer that? I get that question a lot. So he has a prospect on the phone, and he says, he asks Gary, for example, how are you doing in the business?
Yeah.
And Gary just got started. How does he answer that?
That's a question I used to get a lot. So Gary, I can understand that at the beginning. After I have my posture, after I have my confidence, I I have hardly heard that question ever since. And so you got to really realize of what your posture is because it's not about what you're doing. It's about what they can do. And so here's the thing. You won't be getting that question as you keep on moving forward. You're not going to be getting that question because you're going to be having posture. And people won't even ask you that. And so let's say somebody does. Well, you know what? Here's something when what I used way back when, and I didn't have to use it very often, very many times because I started having my posture. But hey, I just got started here. I'm just starting. The person that I'm being mentored by, is making and it's got you. And make sure you're being real and you're being authentic. Because once you are not being authentic with somebody and lying and saying, "Oh, I made this much money," you are dead in the water. So first of all, don't lie, okay, about what you're doing, because man, it will it will haunt you like anything. So just be real. Hey, I just got started in the business. I'm learning from somebody who's been in the industry for the last 6 years, making a multiple six-figure, maybe seven-figure income. As my mentor, and I'm looking at myself. Hopefully, I'll be making 1 to 200,000, whatever. Just say something that you feel comfortable with. And when you're real and you're authentic, people will like, okay, great. And believe me, that question will not be happening the further you go on, and the further communication you have. People won't be asking you that. Does that help you out there, Gary? Gary, I guess, is not on the call, but are you feeling me there, Jason?
No, I feel you, brother. And I agree. It's and Gary writes, great, thanks. That helped me a lot. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Great. So obviously with that, folks, we're 8 minutes long already. So let's go ahead and wind up our webinar. Mr. Swan, you're a true gentleman and a patriot, my friend, and I love you more than anything. I want to say this publicly. Uh, Everyone on the line, just so that everyone gets a real sense of where I'm coming from with these folks. If anybody's got kids, and if the kid has ever started kindergarten on their first day of school or whatever, you tell your kids you love them all the time, and knowing full well that there's no way in the world that that child is ever going to be able to understand how much you love that child. And until they obviously grow old and have kids of their own, those become your grandkids. And I hear, Brian, not that I would know, you're much closer to this than me. No, I'm just kidding. Of grandkids. Uh, Actually, I'm closer to that than you because my son's 12. Anyway, so the but I just really want to convey to everyone here how much these folks mean to me and how much, because it certainly has changed my life. This is the same type of coaching. This is the stock that I was raised from. This is my genes. This is my blood. So I got to just convey that meaning to everyone listening on this call that there's nothing that I would ever do to take that relationship for granted. And I just want to tell everybody that how much you mean to me, guys, to
Well,
how much you guys mean to me personally.
I appreciate that, and here's what I got to come back with, and it's not just to be huggy buggies with both of us, but here's what happens is when you're real and authentic, and Jason's got that, and that's why I would say the people that you've had such a following over the since January when you guys started, you have such a following, and it's because you not only come across you're real and authentic, and I've spent some quality time with you, and that is the thing. I mean, you can only fake things for a certain amount of time, and people are going to know that you're full of crap. But if you're real and you're authentic, man, people will stick with you forever. So
True,
glad to
true.
be glad to be part of this community, man.
The new American Renaissance, my brother, the new American Renaissance, the home business revolution. Welcome to the future of home business. I've created a bazillion taglines in my mind over the past 8 months. No, seriously. All right, folks, in conclusion, please just go check out unstoppablefamily.com, unstoppablefamily.com. You can see it there on the screen. Get to know these folks even better. If you have not yet watched their inspirational videos that they put together on their website, please do so. It will transform your mindset. You can rewatch this video when we post it into the back office and share it with your teams. The information that is conveyed here on this call tonight, folks, I can testify to you, it will make you a fortune. It will make you a fortune if you are just simply, like Brian said, he purposely slows his people down. I think either purposely or unpurposely, we've kind of slowed everybody down in this relaunch with all the crap that's going on, and that's not a bad thing. And I've always kind of kept that in the focus in my mind. That is not a terrible thing just to kind of slow down. Yet it's a 14-day free offer, and that kind of activates this level of scarcity and greed in everybody. But that's called marketing. When we get started, now we're called business owners, and now we just have to approach things a bit differently. Be smart and understand the numbers, how they work in your favor, how just being real and authentic and having conversations with people can transform your financial bank account like very quickly. Uh-oh, I've got a number calling me in from Utah. I hope everybody's still there. It can transform your results very quickly, but it will also, you just never know who you're going to talk to on the other end of that line. And if you just be cool long enough, you might just be talking to someone who is as batshit crazy as Jason Spurlock someday. And even Tanya Eliza, when we talked about her this morning on the phone calls. Well, thank you guys for showing up on our webinar tonight and contributing your valuable time. Everyone should go to unstoppablefamily.com and participate in the Shirt for a Shirt program. Get a cool shirt, take a picture. They'll make you famous on Facebook. I'll even assist in that process. And you'll also be donating a great shirt to a worthy child in need as well. And you'll be just simply carrying out a vision and a mission that the Swans have, and that it's been so gravitational magnetic that we've aligned our entire company with that purpose. So nevertheless, I think we might even be experiencing some technical difficulties, and I'm getting phone calls coming in. Brian, are you there?
I am here, man.
Okay,
I
man.
can hear you
Thank you
loud
so
and clear.
much for everything, and we're going to wrap this thing up. and I wish everybody the best of nights. Leave us a comment on our Facebook page and also on Unstoppable Families Facebook page as well. And for now, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, rather, this webinar, it's a wrap.
Ciao.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected.